Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be back. We are in the studio with my husband, John, who chased after our dog after vacation and is
you're laughing.
Sitting here at the other end of the table with me in a not a cast, but
it's a boot,
sort of
a
like
walking boot.
Attractive walking boot. It's attractive. Yeah. Unfortunately, today he doesn't have any crutches, so that's worked out great.
Yeah.
He's just walking around with the
Healing
boot on.
day by day.
Right, yeah. Our big dog
The good
got
news
out.
is that I am as fast as a Great Pyrenees. The bad news is I thought it was a good idea to run in Hey Dudes.
Those shoes.
They're not running shoes.
Right, they're comfy, though.
They are.
Very nice, but not good running shoes.
no.
Okay, that could be a whole segment, running shoes.
Yeah.
What to run in, what not to run in.
Or just don't run.
Right. Well, either way, we just got back from vacation. We spent a week in Florida. We usually go to Rosemary Beach, and it is like our home away from home. We try to go there every couple months to really rest and restore and come back just on fire and ready to do what we do. We do what we do because we feel God's called us to do it, first of all. And second of all, we're just very passionate about it. We're very passionate about changing people's lives. And that's why we do the radio show. That's why we do our podcasts. It's just we're praying to be able to make as deep of an impact on people's lives as possible. And we have a message that we feel God's given us, and it's a message of health. And we feel health can change everything. It can actually even change you spiritually.
It's like I got into law enforcement to help people. I was that guy that was sitting in the academy, and it was pretty awesome because you got this hard instructor up in front, and he says, I want each one of you to go through and stand up and state your name and then tell me why you're here. And I don't want to hear any of this crap like you're here to help people. And I'm like, oh no, that's why I'm here. But like, that's why I got into law enforcement. And so to get to the place that I was, as unhealthy as I was, basically wanting my life to end, and then to go through the program, lose the weight, start feeling great, and to be able to change not only my body, but my mind, it just set me up to want to help other people do it. It's like, if I can help one person do that, that's a victory.
Right. Because it was just such a life-changing experience for John.
Right.
He had a heart attack. He was dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, addiction, and he had overcome so much, and so much of it, the catalyst to the change in all of those areas of his life was truly changing his food. I mean, losing the weight was a big help, but I've witnessed 100-pound weight loss for over 20 years now in so many different people in so many different ways. And I didn't see the same life change that I saw in you and I saw in so many clients, because they really cleaned up what they were bringing in their body. And it manufactured such a tremendous change in their health across the board in all areas. And so, today I just want to talk a little bit about a topic that I feel like is just so instrumental to everyday life. By all means, is it instrumental to a healthy life, but just in all areas. And we were just talking before we just started, and I just said it just matters in all areas of your life. But the topic is mindset and understanding, a person who is happy is not happy because everything is right in their life. They're happy because their attitude towards everything in life is right.
Right.
And I just think you probably hold a little different perspective on that than others. And I know
you mean
that
like how I'm always happy.
I know that you and I we're structured differently. I mean, we were raised differently. Our parents are different. Like, across the board, we were just polar opposites. Even our daughter the other day was like, I don't even know how you guys met and managed to get married. You are such opposites. Right. And I even, and then I kind of sat there and I told her, I was like, yes, but Sophie, God unites people for a reason, because we help to complete each other. If we were exactly the same, then we wouldn't accomplish the same, we wouldn't accomplish the same things. And she was like, you're right. And I said, God uses that. He fills areas or voids that I have, and I fill voids that he has. And we motivate and inspire each other to grow outside of our box, outside of the boundaries. But I'm just curious, with your opinion on it, because I know how I typically make it through the day. And I would love to just have you just explain your opinion on mindset, maybe just what you witnessed for me, for others, for yourself, just overall the priority that you think it, needs to be made, and how I know over the years I have forced myself to make it a priority. And then I've brought that into my teams with the different companies that I own. And then obviously in my nutrition program, it's a very big part of what I teach.
I think the thing about mindset for me is truly it is the only variable that you always have control over. There are things that can affect why your mindset might change. There are things that valid reasons to not have a positive mindset. Someone could say like, wow, yeah, no, that's a really good reason to not have a positive mindset, but you actually still can choose to have one. I mean, that's why you always hear the comparison. You hear the story of you got the richest of rich guy and he's up on a skyscraper thinking about jumping because he doesn't want to live anymore. And then you got the guy living under the bridge who just slept under a newspaper and almost froze to death, but he's smiling at you. And it's like, what is that? And that's a choice. Now, again, if you're someone that deals with depression or anxiety, having someone tell you, just don't be depressed, don't be anxious. That's actually how you get that person to want to punch you in the face. It's not going to make them less depressed or anxious, just so everybody listening knows. But that person dealing with that depression and anxiety, as someone myself that does that, I still have to make a decision whether or not I'm going to let that rule my day. If you have a medical condition or a physical ailment, you still have to make a decision on whether or not you're going to let that rule your day. And so there's elements that can cause a situation or a scenario to be more difficult to make that decision, but you actually get to choose the mindset to propel yourself forward. And again, when I say this, realize I'm not asking you to go full Mr. Rogers with your mindset. You don't have to smile at everybody and love everybody as your neighbor and be super excited and greet everybody, but you can stay positive. Like you can stop yourself from falling into the negativity, giving up, accepting failure, just deciding, whatever it is you're trying to get through isn't something that you're going to be able to accomplish for that day. And I actually just had an incident with this myself. I'm in a boot right now, and I had set all of these parameters and plans in place that when I got back in town, I've got this new workout routine I'm going to do. And I was super excited. I'm going to try to change my shape a little bit. I haven't been excited to work out in like a decade. So I'm like, I'm going to do this thing. So I get back and I go chasing after a dog and I tear some ligaments in my foot. So I'm sitting there and I've been very anxious the past 3 days anyway. It's part of bipolarism. You go through phases. And I recognize that I am real close to just letting this ruin my day. My foot's hurt. I don't feel like getting up. You know what? This whole thing's a bad idea. I don't even want to do this workout anyway. Why did I even think I was going to have the time to do that? I start cycling all of these negative possibilities. And I just decided in that moment, you know what? I'm going to be okay with this. And it freaked Debbie out. I was super excited. I was like, hey, you want to do this today? You want to hang out? And you could tell she's looking at me like, are you on drugs? Like, where did you get them this fast with your foot being hurt? Because I don't always choose that. That's that when she says that we're different, Debbie's the person who she goes to bed. She wakes up in the morning. Her plate is refreshed. She thanks God for the opportunity to go about the day. And I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm still going to kill whatever I was going to kill last night. Like I don't refresh like that. So I do have to make a point individually on each thing that I deal with each day to choose to have the proper mindset.
We all do. I mean, that's the thing. And what I'm finding, and the reason why I want to talk about this, and we'll carry it into the next segment as well, is that mindset is what is really triggering people to make poor decisions. They're starting to lower their standards, and the choices that they're making for their food and the choices that they're making for what they drink, and whether or not they stay disciplined, whether or not they prepare their food, whether or not they do the grocery shopping like they should, all of those standards are starting to be impacted by this mindset. And so I just want to carry this into the next segment and really kind of talk about those standards and how we can really lower our standards. This is part of what we teach in our 6-month nutrition program, I mean, we guide you through the whole process of creating a pattern of discipline in your life and really sticking to that pattern of discipline, because anyone can lose weight, but being able to keep the weight off and being able to maintain that weight loss is difficult. And you do have to apply discipline to be able to do that. And that is what we coach at Integrity Training Systems. For more information on that program, you can give us a call at 636-299-2208. In addition, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com. You can also try to schedule a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers to go over any muscle imbalances or postural deviations that you have as well. Hey everybody, it's great to be back. Last segment we were talking about mindset. I wanted to talk about this topic. In fact, that quote that I gave was actually positioned to me from my assistant, Jenny. She said, Debbie, I wish you would do a podcast on this. And I really feel like she asked me to do a podcast on it because she was just like, I need to be refreshed on this topic, and that's why she asked me to do it. And she's also watched me go through some fiery trials just in the time that she's known me. And yet I think I've been able to maintain my composure and stay relatively positive throughout the process. And in my office, I have a little sign on my door, and it's handwritten. It was something that one of my clients, Gary, who was over 500 pounds, he lost 200 pounds in less than 2 years. And he just said, God's done it for you before, and he'll do it for you again. You just have to put all of your faith in him and make him your source in life. And so I just put that quote on my door so that whenever trials come or unexpected loss or unexpected situations, I'm just reminding myself of, he gave me this vision. He created this path for me. I'm going to go to work every day. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to take care of my family, and I'm going to do it because I know he's called me to do it. And even though there's going to be some fires and some bumps and some speed bumps and some roadblocks along the way, I just know along the path, he's going to provide for me.
And I think anybody that would see you right now can see your passion. Hopefully they can hear it as well. But I think that is a large missing component for me that I see with a lot of people in mindset, is their why is weak. Mm-hmm. So many people, their why is very shallow. And I don't mean that in an offensive sort of way. I just mean,
I totally agree with that.
If the only reason you're looking to lose weight is because you have a person that you wish would notice you, and you think losing weight is going to make you look better, you're not going to hold to that. If you're trying to get a job to impress somebody else and not doing it for you, you're not going to hold to what it takes to get that job. If you're competing so that the people around you and the crowd, cheers you on and they're excited about it, you're not going to train hard enough because you're not in it. What is your why? And if you can determine why you're doing something and actually focus on what it takes to get there, your likelihood to succeed is going to greatly improve. And that's the mindset. I think it's Eric Thomas that says, there's absolutely nothing behind your feelings. I'm going to mess this quote up. How does he say that? He goes, there might be absolutely nothing behind your feelings, but if your why is right, you'll still get there. And the reason he says that is because it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have emotions. But if every little thing that comes up, every little speed bump triggers this, I should just give up, or that's too tough.
Food.
Or, I messed up on my food for, this lunch on Thursday,
stressful.
So I'll just restart Monday. Mm-hmm. Like if everything is a derail rather than a sidestep, then you are going to fall off, but if you can find something, just like you went over, God's given you a vision, and you can dedicate everything you've got to a purpose that's bigger than just something simple, you're going to succeed. And that's how you change your mindset. Because if you base your mindset off of how you feel, like Eric Thomas said, you're going to fail because I love it.
You're not always going to feel like
who were we
it.
just talking to that was talking about they wish they liked or they felt like working out like me? Who was that?
It was Jenny.
It was Jenny. Oh, it was Jenny. Because she was like, yeah, I was like, Jenny, I never want to work out. I hate working out. Like, I absolutely despise working out. And even jujitsu, I love jujitsu. That I do love. I enjoy going. I enjoy competing. I enjoy being there. But, right, Deb? Almost every time before I go, I have to have a conversation with myself about going, right? Because I'm like, I'm kind of tired. And I've got a real excuse now. I'm in a boot, but it's like my feet kind of hurt. My elbow kind of hurts. Like, you can make excuses and give yourself a negative outlook on everything.
Right.
Or you can choose to be positive. And what's crazy is you usually end up finding happiness in the other end of a proper mindset.
There's just always going to be a time where you're just not going to feel like it. I just want to use this example at the gym. We have a personal trainer that works for us. Her name's Misty Weatherford. And she has been a personal client of mine for, I guess, over 7 years now. For many years, at least 5 years, she trained over 13 hours a week with me. And I just want to reiterate that she personal trained over 13 hours a week with me.
Right.
And so over the past 22 years, I've worked with plenty of bodybuilders. It's not what I do. I work with everybody. And most of the people that have actually become bodybuilders, competitive bodybuilders, they are bodybuilders because they had to lose 100 pounds or because they overcame high blood pressure and diabetes.
They decided to do something, to do a show for themselves.
Yes, and they decided to do the show after the fact. But a lot of people that are doing shows, and what has disenchanted me with the bodybuilding community is their why. And I don't really think a lot of them could even give a quality why if they were put on the spot. Why are you doing this? Because if you really truly have a why that has depth to it, why do you gain 20 pounds 2 weeks after your show?
Right.
Why do you gain 30 pounds? Why do you go right back to the bad food? So the reason that I point out Misty Weatherford is because she actually looks like she's ready to do a show every day of the year.
Right.
Now, not hyper lean. She gets leaner when it comes closer to the show. She lives it. It is her lifestyle. She has decided that the show is just the celebration of a quality lifestyle.
Right, it's the presentation.
Exactly.
The showing.
And that's what I grew up with bodybuilding. George Turner's gym, that's where I grew up. And then Powerhouse Gym. I grew up around some fascinating bodybuilders. And this was a craft. I mean, they really did it different. They ate different, but they did it all the time. It wasn't, well, I'm going to do this for 16 weeks and then I'm going to start eating Lucky Charms again.
Right.
It was like, sure, on their birthday and Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that, sure, they had an off meal, sure, there was the occasional thing, but they didn't lower their standards 2 days after the show that they just competed in. Their why was that they were training to live. They were training to live at the very best, most optimal level that they could. And that's why they were doing the show, was to get on the stage and show a healthy lifestyle and show what it takes to be the very best version of yourself you could possibly be. And that is what Misty Weatherford has always done. And so when she gets on stage and she wins first place, I feel like all of bodybuilding should bear witness to the talent that she has, not only physically, but also mentally, that she's capable of staying in the mindset all year long that stimulates the type of change and the type of growth that she produces. Now, do I think that everyone's going to do a bodybuilding show and that's going to, impact everyone? Absolutely not. But this is what we do at Integrity. We try to embed mindset. We try to help you to identify what is your personal why for your personal circumstances. How can we manufacture a life change in you that will last forever so that you decide my next steps are they're happening for this reason and for that reason. These are the type of people that are coaching you. Someone like Misty Weatherford, someone like myself. We can help you to see changes in your body. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com, or you can call for a personal fitness assessment, which is free, 636-299-2208 with any of our personal trainers. Hey, everybody, this is an awesome segment. I'm so excited about this show and just overall talking about mindset, because I truly believe that we have clients and I believe there has to be listeners out there that they need to reset this button. They need help. They need to change the way that they are thinking. I give that example, with bodybuilding because it's just something that's fresh. I feel like people are scrolling social media and they're seeing bodybuilders they're like
perfectly edited, sideways pose, beautiful lighting, right?
Like, I want to be a bodybuilder. Yeah. I want to do a bodybuilding show. Right. And you're going to come to me and I'm going to say, why?
Right.
You want to spend the next 16 weeks hyper restricted and, doing excessive exercise when you have never done that before?
Here's my issue with a situation like that. And we've talked about this before with like the same thing as 75 Hard. I love 75 Hard. I think that it was designed with growth in mind for a person. And I really believe that its philosophy is capable of changing someone's life greatly. A bodybuilding show, I think, is a great presentation of someone's work ethic. Okay. But if you choose to just do those things as an individual item and you don't have any backdrop to that. So for instance, you decide to get on a bodybuilding stage, but you don't even work out. You decide to do 75 Hard, but you've never done anything remotely like that. You've never even read a book. You've never even, you go through the different phases. Sometimes you can take on too much. And when you're changing your mindset, it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
Because what happens is you only know what you know. You've only been through what you've been through. People always tell me I'm an old soul, okay? I'm not an old soul. What I am is someone who's done way more things in my short lifetime than I should have. I've seen more life than a lot of people that are older than me have seen. And law enforcement does that to you, right? I've seen life, I've seen death. So what has happened is life has actually put a tension on me. Now, we talk about in weight training, time under tension. That's how we change muscle. Well, that's how we change a person's life as well. We adapt someone. Someone learns to be stronger or make it through different situations in life is through tension. If you take somebody, okay, who's been in law enforcement like myself, and you put them in a situation such as someone falling and getting hurt, and that person then has to figure out how to arrange for an ambulance to show up and control that situation. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be able to control that situation. But if you take someone who's never been around any type of emergency situation whatsoever, and you thrust them into that same scenario, they may panic, freak out, and literally just end up rocking on the floor, right? So that growth as a person, that history, that past, that's what's actually going to prepare you for the next phases of what you take on.
Right.
And so you have to look at everything that you do as a tension, and you can't expect yourself. It goes beyond mindset. You can't expect yourself to succeed at something that is so far-fetched from what you've trained yourself on without assistance. That's where someone like us comes in. We're going to help guide you there. I want to revert back just real quick. You talked a little bit about Misty. Another example with her is, again, when you're comparing tensions of life, I don't want to give her whole story, but she's raised 2 kids on her own, and she works a full-time job and trains that much, right? So she gets clients that come to her
with excuses,
that don't have jobs, that don't have kids, and have plenty of excuses.
Right.
Now, I'm not trying to take away from those people because they only know what they know. They've only done what they've done. But you have to be prepared to take yourself to the next season of your life.
Right.
And what that looks like is going to be based off of how you set your mindset now.
Absolutely.
You get to choose where you're going.
That's right. And so, again, with that quote, what we stated is, a person isn't always happy because everything around them is happy. They're happy because they're making the choice to be happy, even though their circumstances are not necessarily happy. Right. There, and it isn't just about walking around being happy all the time. It's about being satisfied, and it's about raising the standard for yourself and just saying, every day I'm going to be an overcomer.
Right.
Every day I'm going to do my level best. I'm not going to take things personally. I'm not going to make bad assumptions or assume ill intent on other people.
It's so big.
I'm not going to start drawing a bunch of conclusions and projecting all my own personal insecurities on other people. Because this is a lot of the times the reason why people fail on their diets
is because
these are their stressors. These are their stressors. They are setting themselves up because they create a circumstance in their mind. There's been certain circumstances where we'll have something come up and John will tell me what he's thinking. And I'm like, you should write a movie script on that whole story you just created.
Right.
Based on that whole narrative, based off of something that we don't even know if that's what happened.
Exactly.
But truly, that's what people do. They have a circumstance come up. It is a stressor. They don't know everything about it, but their mindset is in such a way that it's almost to some extent weakened. And so they don't feel confident about themselves. And therefore, they end up creating a reality in their mind that is so false. And it triggers them to say, I'm going to go get some alcohol. I need to drink some wine tonight. I need to eat some chocolate. I need to go get ice cream.
Perception is reality. So if you're perceiving that you're failing, or you're perceiving that it's, you're not going to overcome it, or you're just perceiving that, okay, this is far too difficult for me, I shouldn't even start, then you're right.
Right.
I mean, that's where the mindset comes in, and I know that's a very commonly said thing, like, oh, okay, yeah, perception's reality, but it's true.
Yes.
I mean, it fits. If you don't take the time to change the way you perceive things, you're going to run into some struggle. I mean, our preacher, he said at one point, I love this. He said there will always be offenses in the world, but you actually get to choose whether or not you're offended.
Exactly.
And people are walking around offended, and it's based in insecurity. And if that insecurity starts to seep into all aspects of your life, you're really going to struggle to find victory in anything.
Exactly. And again, what has prompted me to have the desire to have this topic be pulled into an entire show, basically, is because we drove home from Florida, and I always take, probably 5 hours worth of calls, don't you think?
Yeah.
I just put my little headset on and I do 5 hours worth of follow-ups on the drive home because it's a 12-hour drive. It's like, what else are you going to do?
Right.
And I mean, I spent 5 hours talking to people that had stressful circumstances, and I get it. We've had, even when we were in Florida, we had a stressful circumstance.
Right.
My mom fell. She had to go to the hospital in an ambulance. We had to go to the emergency room at 2:00 in the morning. She's okay. Praise God. Nothing's broken. But we didn't get back until 6 in the morning. It doesn't matter what the circumstances. It's so easy for someone to say, yeah, you just spent the whole week in Florida. You don't really have you don't have my story. It's like, oh yeah, you don't know what actually happened. You don't know. But my point in bringing that up is that I spent 5 hours on the phone with people, and every single one of them, they were yielding to the stress.
Yes.
And they were bailing on their discipline. They were bailing on what was important, what should have been the priority, what they should have stuck with, what would have kept their brain balanced, what would have kept their blood sugar and blood pressure down in those circumstances. Then they just yielded to the temptation to feed the flesh and to find comfort in something that is basically an idol. It's something outside of their faith. It's something outside of what God's actually positioned us to find comfort in. And that's where the breakdown is. And so in that very moment, what's happening is that the standards are being lowered. Okay, you're settling for less than the best for yourself. You've decided to just make exceptions. You've decided you don't need to be exceptional anymore, so you're going to make exceptions. And you've accepted the fact that mediocrity is okay, because whenever you have a stressful circumstance, you're just going to bail and you're just going to blow it and have bad food. You're human, okay? This happens. It's not a judgment. It's just a reality. This is what's commonly happening, but you can overcome it. You can set yourself up. You can study. You can really set yourself in a position to where you're well equipped, just the way that, Jocko Willink has taken, battleground tactics And he has turned them into everyday life, dynamics and how to deal and how to conquer daily life. It's the same concept.
Right.
You're bailing on your standards and you're going off the deep end every time something bad happens, and you're bringing bad food in. That is changing your chemistry. It's changing your brain. It's changing your mood. It's changing how you're going to proceed for the next couple of weeks, and you're gonna feel horrible from all the bad food. We have to equip you the same way we would the soldier, teaching you your battle plan, or the same way we would a football player. We watched that Kurt Warner movie, which was amazing. It was a great movie. The same way we would equip a football player. I want to reference that because that coach can show him all of the game plans, all of the different positions that everybody needs to be in. But when that coach called Kurt on that one game day and he said, the reason I was so hard on you was because I truly believe in you, and I want you to know that I think you are a champion. And he went back out on the field and he performed, right?
Because that's something that you get a lot of trouble for is people are like, man, she's relentless. And it's like, well, you paid her to be.
Right.
That's actually what she's there for, is to
it's the
ensure
same
your
message.
success.
I'm relentless with the same message.
And
I'm forgiving and nurturing to people, but I'm relentless with the same message.
You're not going to bend on what you're trying to do because you believe these people come to you with the desire and the ability to be successful.
I'm not going to let people lower their standards. Right. They came in the door, they spent the money, and they decided, I want to raise my standards. I want to be healthier. I want to make better choices. I want to overcome things in my life. Well, I'm not going to let you lower your standards back down to where you were before, because you never would have walked in my door if you wanted to stay at those standards.
Something to think about with that is I really don't see the world getting any easier.
Right.
So as you're thinking about what the next step is, when you think about lowering your standard and stepping back, realize that it's probably going to continue to come at you. And so as life does continue to come at you, the best thing you can do is teach yourself or find people who can teach you to prepare you to take it on.
What is the plan of attack? What is the battle plan? What are those field positions? What do you need? What is the equipping? Right? I always tell people whenever I work with someone at the church, I've worked with several churches, not just our church. We go to St. Louis Family Church, but I've worked with a number of churches in the area, their pastors, all of their workers, and then of course their congregation. But I always say this. I always say it's the equipping of the saints. And so what we're doing is we're equipping the people that are leading the body of Christ. We're equipping them in that church to go out and present health in a different format than I can, right? Because I'm relentless with it. Right. But at the end of the day, it's learning how to be equipped to be healthy and to stay healthy. I want to talk about those standards in this next segment. What can you do to stay equipped? Where do you get that equipping from? Of course, we teach it. That's part of what our 6-month program is. I mean, it's more than just eat this, eat that. This is a mind game, and we really teach you mindset. And it is what I am very passionate towards. I truly believe God's given me that spirit inside me to really drive people into a better mindset. For more information on that program, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com, or to meet with the personal or to do a personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers free of charge. You can call us at 636-299-2208. Hey, everybody, it's good to be back. I do want to start this mindset topic. We're going to talk about a battle plan for your standards. John just mentioned something to break, and I do want you to say that, but I also want to say alongside what you're about to say is it is important what voices you are letting in your life. Because I know I have a number of clients that they spend their time around people that they have lowered their standards. And although this person is fighting to keep their standards high and to not make exceptions, everyone they spend their time around is not doing the same exact thing. So you really have to make sure that they are going to the place that you know God's called you to go to? And are they really the right people you should be spending all your time around?
And it's where you run into a situation where it's like you're not trying to tell someone that their friends are bad people. You're not trying to tell someone that the people they hang out with aren't good people in any way, shape, or fashion. You're not even saying that you are better or they're better than those people. What you're saying is people are willing, if they've lowered their own standards, to lower yours.
Yeah.
They don't
Misery loves
realize
company.
they're doing it. It's not a malicious thing. There are people who will do it maliciously. They'll try to bring you down, but your friends, that's not who that is. Your friends are just people who are walking around and they've accepted that lower standard. And so when they watch you shoot for something higher, they legitimately don't understand why.
Right.
But in the confusion, rather than trying to figure it out because they acknowledge that there's work behind that, they just instead tell you, oh, you can just have one bite. Oh, you can just have one drink. Oh, you can have one of this. Is it really that big of a deal? Just do it in moderation. It's not that big of a deal. You know, and I mentioned this earlier as far as Debbie's program goes. You know, Debbie is not a mean person. She's not strict like you've failed when you fall off the program. But she's also not the person that's going to tell you, that's okay. You know what? No big deal. It happens. It's only been 4 times this week. Because what happens is that's not going to get you to where you're trying to go. And I'm here to tell you, if you've actually got a goal and you really pay attention to your why and you really want to achieve that goal, you don't want someone rooting for you that's accepting you not doing what you're supposed to do. You trip up, you're somewhere where you shouldn't have been, and the timing's off and you have to grab something. Okay. But if you're going every other day and making a point to grab candy or ice cream because you just can't get over it, that'd be like a boxing coach allowing their fighter to just take some time off of the speed bag today. You know what? Don't work the speed bag today. No big deal. You know, I know I'm your head coach, but don't worry about it. Oh, you don't want to jump rope tomorrow? You know what? Let's pull the jump rope out. And when you're in the ring next month getting your face pushed in, is that really who you wanted to listen to? Is that who you wanted in your corner? This is no different. If you're going to surround yourself with someone, you want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals.
Right.
You want to find people who are trying to better themselves. It doesn't even mean you have to be in the same place. It just means that you're trying to better yourself in a scenario or a realm or an arena or whatever it is that you're trying to take on.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, you know, like you said, we're getting our head kicked in just by life right now.
Yeah,
so,
and
you know,
I really just don't see that getting easier. You know, I mean, I'm watching the news and the events and stuff, and I'm like, guys, if you're waiting for the trauma of life and the struggles to go away, I don't know if that time's going to show up for you.
Right. I think instead of waiting for it to go away, I think you really, truly need to start training for it and equipping yourself better. And part of equipping yourself is finding a form of leadership or finding some path that you can follow. You know, in my opinion, the most important form of leadership or the most important role of leadership in your life should be faith and who you're honoring and the morals and the creed that you're following. And when it comes to faith, you can honor God with the choices that you make for your body. And so if you're continually making poor choices for your body, you have to understand that, you know, God can be in it with you to get you out of that because he does not want you doing that. And so ultimately, you are never alone in the circumstance. But that's your first, you know, line of authority in your life and building that battle plan. And then your second is, why are you trying to do it alone? You know, you don't have to do it alone. If you're really struggling with food and if food addiction is a major problem for you, or if you're struggling with your health and you wholeheartedly just can't get it together with your food, then quit trying to do it alone. It's sort of like insanity. You know, you're continuing to do the same thing and expecting a different result. There are people that can equip you with different patterns to follow. I have so many people doing so many different things. I just had a bodybuilder the other day that I saw on a post where the person said, you ought to just go out and have a really big cheat meal. That'll change your shape. That'll make it to where your weight starts moving. And I was just like, that person knows nothing about that girl. Right. Nothing. Right. She's having major health struggles right now. Right. If she went out and had all that, I'd be putting her we'd be dealing with issues in her body for the next couple of weeks nobody's in the same place, right?
And that's the thing, is that's why you want to find someone. You know, I read an article here recently, and it was a guy, he's a massive in shape dude, bodybuilder. And he was talking about, why do people feel like they need a coach now versus 20 years ago? Everybody has a coach now. And I think for me, I could see the argument of, you don't have a coach because you know your body and you enjoy the process of figuring it out. If you're looking at something as just a sport and you're looking to have fun in the process, sure, don't hire somebody. If you want to figure out how to change the power steering fluid in your car because you have a leak and you want to do it for fun and you're not worried about the safe vehicle, go after it, figure it out. But you're not going to do that to actually fix the vehicle. If your why is to fix the vehicle, you're not going to just do it and hope it works out, right? Well, don't do it with your body either. Right. Don't do it with your mind. You know, the best of the best have coaches. And the reason is because they've accepted that they're spending so much time on honing their craft and doing all of the other aspects of life. They don't have the time to research that individual thing, that nutrition, the workout program. I got a guy who's highly successful. He's been working out for 30 years, owns a gigantic company, trains with me 4 days a week. And you know what he says? He goes, I just don't even want to think about it. I don't know what I'm doing while you're having me do it. I don't know how many reps. I just know my shape's changing.
Right.
He's not there to figure it out for fun. He's there to be in phenomenal shape. Right. So surround yourself with people that can help you and understand that there's noise everywhere.
Yes.
There's a lot of pathways to get you somewhere, but most times if you go halfway down one, backtrack, and halfway down another, you're not going to get there. So find someone that you believe in, find a why that you believe in, focus up and follow it.
And just because you've had 2 years of struggle or 10 months of poor decisions, bad decisions, or 30 solid days of horrible eating patterns, I'm going to tell you right now, you can change it. One decision today can change it. Gary made the decision to do nutrition with me. He was over 500 pounds and he lost 200 pounds in less than a year and a half. He just woke up every day and continued to make that decision. And him and I spoke almost every single day. We didn't meet until he had lost the 200 pounds. Everything was done by phone.
Yeah, that's the one thing I think is fascinating is people are like, oh, well, you know, you don't have a personal connection if you, you don't do it in person. Okay, well, do you need a personal connection to have the success though? I mean, if the answer is yes, I still think you accomplished it. The guy lost the weight.
Right.
He changed his life.
And we do meet in person, but for Gary, he lived out of town, so we didn't meet in person. But, the reality is it's just waking up and making the decision that today I'm going to do it different. So don't let the past, don't look behind you, just look ahead, look forward. There's hope in the future. Okay. Maybe the past is broken. Maybe the past is really poor decisions and you just see fire every time you look back. Stop looking back, remove the rear view mirror and just stop looking back. And that's just ultimately what we do at Integrity is we just set you up for success and we try to position you to a place where you are not looking behind you and you start looking forward to victory. It's happened in John's life. It's obviously happened in my life. It's happened in all of my trainers' lives, and that's what we do. For more information on that 6-month nutrition program, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com, or to schedule a free personal fitness assessment, you can call us at 636-299-2208. John, is there anything that you have for the last 30 seconds?
The last thing I want to add, and I'm sure you could see I was trying to spit at you silently, is don't wait until Monday on anything with mindset.
Just do it now.
Make the mindset at the next opportunity. If you're struggling with food, just as an example, and it's Saturday afternoon, then fix it for dinner.
Right, fix it for dinner. God bless you all. We pray this message resonates with you and you make a change.